Hello and welcome to another Kangaroo English Daily Digest. My name is Christian and today is Monday, best day of the week. Last week was a complicated week and I will explain why. In a moment. But it's a perfect opportunity to talk about today's word of the day, which is this: rigmarole. Now, a rigmarole is like, it's a noun, okay, it's a noun, and it means like a complicated or convoluted process. It's like, for example, here in Spain, for me to renew my passport is a rigmarole. It's like a complicated, convoluted process, normally unnecessarily complicated. And it's a great word. I love this word. I love the sound of it, and I love the story of this word. And for me, last week was a rigmarole. And I'll explain why again. So let's talk about the origin of this word. So the different dictionaries have different theories about the origin of this word. Remember, sometimes language is not an exact science. There's debate. So Merriam-Webster's dictionary has a different theory to the Oxford Dictionary, for example. The Oxford Dictionary says that the word comes from the Ragman Rolls. Okay, so the Ragman Rolls were some Scottish legal documents made by a guy called Ragmain, and so they look like a roll. Okay, so remember, in the past, legal documents were not written in a Microsoft Word. Legal documents were written on rolls of parchment, like this, right? See? Okay. And so because they were written by a guy called Ragmain, they were called the Ragmain Rolls. And because they were legal documents, they were complicated and convoluted, right? That's one theory. My favorite theory is the Merriam-Webster, the American theory, which is that it used to be a game that you played back in medieval times. Okay, so you had these, you had a document, okay, again, so you had a scroll, or a roll, and this was called a Ragman roll, okay, but printed, okay, the text on the scroll, every line had different characters. I don't know the characters, so one was maybe the king of Scotland, and another character was the Prince of Wales, and another character was, you know, Robin Hood, the thief, I don't know. And so this was the game. Now remember, it's medieval times, so people were more easily entertained. So they closed the roll like this, okay, and then they had string. I'm sorry, I'm not very well prepared. We have to imagine this is string, okay. So they had lots and lots of pieces of string. They didn't have an intervalometer, okay, they had a piece of string, so they had this string inserted in the scroll like this, okay, but lots of them, maybe 5 or 10, and the string was attached with wax, you know, wax like wax from a candle. Candles are made of wax. And so when you pulled the string out like this, on the end of the string you had the name of one of the characters. Maybe you would select Prince of Wales, or you would select Robin Hood or Shrek, and you would have to pretend to be that character for the rest of the night. So it's like a parlor game that you would play, and so, you know, I'd be like, oh, I'm Robin Hood, give me your money, you scoundrel. You know, maybe you would pretend to be the king, and it would be so much fun, and we would drink mead and And yeah, so that's my favorite. And so the rigmarole came from the scroll, because this game, you know, with the string and the names, it was complicated, just like a rigmarole. And interestingly, because I have a plan here. We're going on a journey through words, okay? So scrolling, now this is called a scroll. Scroll is an alternate version of roll, because see the paper's rolled, okay? So scroll. Now, when you look at a scroll, as you turn the paper, you see one line at a time, right? One line at a time. And it's the same as on your computer mouse. This button is the scroll button, the scroll wheel, because when you do this with your finger, it's a little bit like doing this with a scroll. So very ancient word, very new technology. Okay, now let me tell you a little story. So I said that last week was a rigmarole for me, for a lot of people, because it was a rigmarole because on Monday, unfortunately, the aunt of my wife died. She was 89 years old, so, you know, she had a good, in English we say she had a good innings. An innings is part of the game of cricket, and it's a long period, so she had a good, you know, she had a good long life, a good innings. And she died very peacefully, so that was good. So good. So, but you know, very sad, obviously, and so all of my wife's family came. So we spent some time with the family, and then while my wife's family were visiting, my father-in-law had a car accident on the motorway, and he slid off the motorway, and he hit trees, but thankfully nobody was hurt. There was passengers in the car, including a baby, but nobody was hurt. Everybody's okay. But it was a rigmarole of a week. A lot of things happened, a lot of stressful situations, a lot of emotions. Yeah, and it got me thinking about something, because I haven't made a podcast for about, I think, 6 months, which is ridiculous. But I have a script finished for a podcast about euphemisms and dysphemisms. And when my wife's aunt, when she died, it started me thinking again about this podcast, and that I really need to make it, because like for me the creative process is a bit like being pregnant. It's a bit like I'm pregnant, I have the baby inside, and I want to get it out. I want to get the baby out. So when I have ideas in my mind, like I have a podcast and I have Fluentify videos and I have things that I want in my... It's painful. It's like being pregnant, I want them out. But then when you have them out and they're in the world, it's a beautiful thing. But it got me... My wife's aunt's death, it got me thinking about euphemisms again, and it got me thinking about how many euphemisms we have for death. You see, in general, euphemisms, we use euphemisms to talk about things that are taboo, to talk about things that are not good, right? So a euphemism, maybe I didn't explain. A euphemism is like another word or a phrase, so it could be a single word or it could be a phrase that we substitute for something else. So for example, when someone dies, you can say they die, or you can say they pass away. You know, it's softer, it's nicer. And we use euphemisms for topics that are taboo normally. So for example, dying, being pregnant, because remember in the past being pregnant was bad. Sex, being, you know, drinking alcohol, being sick, basically disgusting things and taboo things, and so to demonstrate this fact, this is quite funny. To demonstrate this fact, I'm going to show you a list. Okay, so I googled euphemisms for death. Sorry, just one second. Where are we? Here we go. Euphemisms for death. And in Wikipedia, there's a list of expressions related to dying. Okay? And as you can see, there are hundreds. Look. Look at all of those, right? And it includes, let's have a look at some good ones. To be at peace, at rest, to be asleep, the big sleep, to check out, draw the curtains, some of them are not appropriate, to free your horses, you know, so it's nice ways. And also I googled euphemisms for sex, and here's look at this, 400 euphemisms for sexual intercourse. 400. So again, because it's sort of something we don't like to talk about it, we use euphemisms like afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. Basket making. Oh, this is a good one. The bedroom rodeo. And also, what's another one? I googled euphemisms for drinking, for getting drunk. Because, you know, it's kind of not socially acceptable, you know? So, I mean, there's hundreds. Ailed, ankled, annihilated, alked, basted, battered, beating the goat, besotted, blasted, I mean, there's hundreds of them. But then I googled euphemisms for sleeping. Now, sleeping is something that we all do every day. It's something human. It should have euphemisms, hundreds of euphemisms, right? But no, I found 10. Because it's not gross and it's not disgusting and it's not taboo. So, for example, to sleep is to catch some Z's, or to crash, or to get some shut-eye, hit the hay, hit the sack. Just some nice, you know, some nice things. So, anyway, I don't know really why I decided to talk about this today, but I did, so. Anyway, I hope you found it interesting, and I hope that your week is not full of rigmaroles. I'm Christian, this is Kangaroo English. I'll see you in class.